Hello, everyone, and welcome to Scrap Saturdays. I hope you're all doing well. I love the way this layout turned out. I have to say that if you had asked me 6 months ago about fussy cutting, I really had this huge aversion to it. Is that the right word? I think so. And now that I've practiced it, especially with these Felicity Jane kits, because the florals are to die for. And although you do get like the florals in the die cut packages, there's just something about the florals on the printed paper itself, right? On the patterned paper. So at first, especially those little tiny little squiggly leaves and all those jaggedy corners where I still am not 100% mastered that. But compared to how I used to fussy cut, I can honestly say that if you were like me, where you kind of, it's still not my favorite thing to do. It's still very tedious and time consuming, but I really love the effect. And there's a gratification that comes with that too, right? It's the practice of. So yeah, pretty much, it's going to be 15 minutes of me moving things around, but I kind of settle on the basic idea of using the documented Project Life card and then that little pocket that I created myself. Now, the pocket itself is very small because it's a leftover piece of patterned paper. And so I had to finagle it to at least I knew it could make the width. And that is another Project Life card that's actually in there. And I'm using it upside down because I love that plaid, that pink, the faux Burberry plaid, as I call it. Look, but it actually has a white piece on top of that where you could stamp and you can do a title, but I just wanted to do something completely different. And so moving forward into what I wrote on my journaling card in that little pocket, I put, love you, love this so much, because we sometimes forget through the days, the lists, deadlines, the kids, the, and more thes than we can ever handle. I'm feeling in need of this cozy snuggle, in need of this embrace, finding time, making time. This right here, this photograph, reminds us to let go of the thes, the 1,000 thes, and snuggle. And so, I don't know how many thes you guys have, right? There's 101 in our house for sure. And so, of course, as I've said before, these are not current photos of myself and Alan on some, luxurious getaway. It's been quite some time since I've gotten away with Alan. And we always say this because we know we get to that point in our relationship where we start to get very cranky with each other, or we become very short with each other. I wouldn't say we full on argue, but there is this tension. And that sometimes, it gets to the end where I'm just not even, listening to him. I'm almost in my zombie-like state. And so right now I'm off on a little bit of a vacation, even though Alan's still working. But it completely changes you when you can actually get away, right? And sometimes, unfortunately, in real life, that isn't feasible. And so I know that I talk about self-love and empowering ourselves, and it's completely, completely important because, as I've said before, without knowing how to love yourself and what your self-worth is, you can't put the onus on somebody else or the responsibility on someone else to love you if you don't know how to love yourself. Right? And I said that. And I know that it again sounds like a foreign language because these are not things that we normally talk about. But the truth is, yes, you need to know how to love yourself and what level of love and care you require, and understand that before you can put that onus on somebody else. And for my relationship, because I'm a very talkative, needy person in that sense, right? So maybe your personality doesn't require as much, and so your partnership or your marriage or whatever you want to call your relationship doesn't need to feed you in that sense. But for myself and Alan, there are a lot of days where I have to sit down and be like, I'm sorry, Alan, but I'm like a chia pet and I need to be watered. Like I need to be watered with conversation. I need to be watered with snuggles and kissing. I need to be watered with your full attention. And I can go a long time without that. And I say that again very cautiously because I think you should always love each other every day as much as you can. But again, this is real life, people. Like, we have jobs, we have kids, we have things that we're committed to that require our attention, never mind running a household, which is like 7 full-time jobs in one. But I do want to say that the most important thing that we need to remember is our pledge to each other in our relationships, because healthy relationships also create for healthy mindsets and for healthy, happy people in general, right? When you're being loved by your lover, by your partner, you're happier with other people. You've got a skip and a hop and a jump, in your step while you're grocery shopping. When you're not happy within your relationship, it makes things a little bit more bitter. And I think that's probably the most beautiful thing, or the most precious thing to me, knowing that I do have a partner in this life. And I do respect those who do not. And I understand that. But I think that even if you did have a partner at one point, maybe you can resonate with what I'm saying. It's not to say that they make you who you are. They just add to who you are, right? They can fulfill that need within us. And then it comes down to, the word marriage. Again, I use it loosely because in today's society, there are so many variations of what we call our relationships. And again, I respect them all. I by no means judge it, but I will use the term marriage because that's what I've chosen within my own religion, within my own beliefs, is that I am truly married to Alan. And so what that means is that, I am committed to him, regardless if we're in a happy mood every single day, or regardless of what comes our way. And we've had, many challenges outside of our home that have affected us, right? Just including him putting up with, my family and all their craziness, as I call it, right? It's pretty scary stuff, especially when himself didn't grow up with that in his household. So having to explain or making him understand what I needed, from my life and my marriage, I had a huge list of absolutely not, will not tolerate that. And then a huge list of things that he was bringing to me that I didn't know how to accept because I didn't grow up in a household like that either. So I guess the most important thing is, I know this is probably still January, but I wish it was February because I think this is like a Valentine's Day kind of talk. But my message for you guys today, if you're needing it or not, is that I want you to really cherish your relationship and your marriage. I need you to protect that. First of all, for yourself. Second of all, for the person you've chosen to be with. But mostly, especially if you do have children, I need you to protect your marriage for your children. And we can totally translate that. That's probably the biggest scope of love, right? And I'll bring my mom back in as an example, because my mom had all the reason to leave my dad. She had every box checked off. There was absolutely nobody on earth or in heaven who would tell my mom that she would have to stay committed to the marriage that she did. And the sad part is, she did. And she chose to stay because in that context of what she had said to my dad, or what she had promised, was a sacrifice for herself. And again, I know you're probably thinking it's wrong, and I am by no means, and I'm going to really make sure you understand this. I don't think my mom should have stayed at all. I don't think she should have stayed with my dad, and I understand that. But at the same time, I want you to realize it's like a movie. When we're watching a movie and the hero at the end, or heroine, whichever way you want to look at it, it's the hero at the end and there's a burning house and it's about to explode. And they're an amazing person, right? But they need to stay in that burning house and hold on to whatever they are so that the rest of the world, the rest of the family can get out and survive. But everybody knows that that person, that hero who's standing in there, she's going to die if she stays there. Literally going to die, but it's for the greater good, because she understands that there's just so much more than her. And so that's kind of the concept that I've looked at it now with my mom. My mom is the hero that was in this burning house, and we all knew that it was burning. And for some reason, in order for us to move forward and in order for us to have the stability and the life that we did have, like my dad, we had a home, we always had food, we had negativity, but my dad did bring stability home as well. And he always made sure he knew where his kids were. So the struggle was between my mother and my father, but my mother never blurred the lines there. She stayed because she thought it was better for her children. Again, mixed emotions because children pick up on a lot of that and it's not healthy. And my mom's story is the most extreme, and I'm using it as an example because I want to bring that feeling into you, that hero at the end of the movie feeling into it for you, right? There are some things within our marriages that really suck. Yeah, for lack of better words, really suck. And marriages take great effort, right? That's what I mean when I say that I sit down and I actually tell Alan, like, this is what I need right now. I need you to feed me. I need you to feed me what I'm craving, right? So that we don't look outside of our marriages for that. Because it's not that you're a good person or a bad person if someone else comes along and feeds you what humanly you need from them, correct? It's not that you're less committed or more committed. It's just that you're human. It's that basic. You're human. And so how much are you willing to let your partner know, right? Because nobody's a mind reader. I can't read Alan's mind. He sure is, for sure, if he was here, he'd be laughing his head off, cannot read my mind. And we have to stop pretending like we don't need things from each other or we don't want this from each other, because we do. And you have to stop being on the couch and being silent, or you have to stop, dezoning and going into zombie land with your devices and actually say, no, I want to sit on the couch with you and I just want to snuggle. That's what I want to do. I don't want to watch TV with you. I just want to talk. And again, when I say talk, I don't mean fight until 3 o'clock in the morning about the shoes at the front door. I mean talk about things that you would, how are you feeling and what are you thinking about and what are your goals for the next 5 years, or even print out a questionnaire, like a dating questionnaire or, some sort of fun questionnaire on the internet and just ask each other questions. It's almost like those tag videos that we tell each other to do. So I realize that I've rambled all over the place and I've hit a lot of very deep emotional topics here. And again, I know my mom's relationship was an extremely abusive one. And I again repeat myself. I'm not saying that you should stay in an abusive marriage. But what I'm saying is, compared to what my mom endured or a lot of people out there are enduring, I think that we do have amazing relationships. We have amazing husbands and partners beside us, and wives or whoever's watching. Our partners are there. We just take them for granted. That's what I'm trying to say. Or sometimes we make them, or we expect them to know what it is that we want, or we give up, or we stop fighting for. And I don't want you to stop fighting for your love. I want you to understand that everything I do with Alan is on purpose. I fight for my love. I fight for my marriage, and I make sure that he knows exactly where I stand so that he can feed me the right things. You know what I mean? You've got to protect your love. Oh man, I know it sounds so horrible to say, but I really think it's such a beautiful layout. There's just something so, I don't know. The photograph makes me giddy itself. I just love it. I love that I know in this moment, even though I have a hair towel wrapped around my hair, how glamorous can this be? But it's not about that. It's about the truth behind it. The truth that we needed time. We needed time to get away with each other. We needed time with no distractions and not to worry about what the kids needed, because that's always what we do. What do the kids need? What do the kids need? My boss is calling, blah, 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 all that stuff. But in this moment, it was just us on the couch snuggling, and it was just that basic. It wasn't even about fancy restaurants or anything crazy. It was just about a little place for you and me. Well, him and I, not you and me. I hope I made sense, my friends. Stay together, love each other, make time for love today with your lover. Take care of each other, be inspired, make time, fussy cut out some roses and stick them down around your love. take time, make time for this hobby, because as you know, my friends, this hobby heals, and I will see you all very, very soon.